Leticia James, she is seeking to sue Trump over the Elon Musk Department of Government Efficiency. She's part of the resistance. Nancy Pelosi already announced, we did it in an earlier video, that she said they're going to use lawfare. Basically, they're going to, not lawfare, but lawsuits to try and gum up the agenda. Watch this.
In the past week, Elon Musk and his so-called Department of Government Efficiency have accessed the personal private information of tens of millions of Americans.
And access is not control. We did that in the last Scott Bessent video.
And sensitive data about public and private entities, social security numbers, addresses, tax returns, and more. This unelected group, led by the world's richest man, is not authorized to have this information. And they explicitly sought this unauthorized access to illegally block payments that millions of Americans rely on.
And Iraqi Sesame Street relies on. Boo! Are you guys scared yet with the scare tactics of Leticia? This is all they've got left.
Payments for health care, child care, and other essential programs.
Trans operations for Venezuelans. The expansion of atheism in Nepal. the drag queen musicals.
Today, Democratic attorneys general are taking action.
Just the Democrat ones. You mean Soros-funded Democrat attorneys generals.
To keep Americans' personal data secure. To keep sensitive information about Americans private. And to uphold our Constitution. We have filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration for giving unauthorized individuals access to these immensely sensitive records in violation of the law.
They're all under the president's jurisdiction. He has a right to it. The executive branch is allowed to look and find out where money's going. If you think the executive branch, the president, is allowed to have the nuclear codes but isn't allowed to do basic audits, no, Leticia, it's not going to work.
President Trump does not have the power to give our private information away to whomever he wants.
He does not. He does have the power to hire a professional consultant like Elon Musk. They always do. The executive branch hires all kinds of private contractors, and they fall under the President Trump's jurisdiction.
And he does not have the power to cut federal spending that Congress approved, much less to do so by giving the richest man in the world the keys to all Americans' most sensitive information. As Democratic attorneys general, we are suing to stop this unprecedented and unauthorized attack.
She's out of gas. She ran out of unprecedented attack.
And to protect your personal information.
She uses lots of pauses to show she's serious.
As I've said before, no one is above the law.
Oh, someone is. Someone's above the law. How about Hunter Biden? Did he fall under the law? No. How about all the pardons? How about Attorney General Merrick Garland? Is he above the law? How about Adam Schiff, preemptive pardon? Is he above the law?
And I will not hesitate to uphold the rule of law and protect New Yorkers. Thank you.
Talk about a drama queen. Let's move on. Let's go to, I got an image here for you guys. There's Leticia James with her Soros buddy, the son of Soros. He's the one that's funding all this stuff. And of course, Soros funded her entire existence into politics to get Trump. Remember that. Here's a muse, USAID. $27 million in USAID money was used by Soros-backed NGOs to elect far-left DAs and AGs, like Leticia James. Over 40% of murders in the U.S. occur in communities where USAID funds were used to elect Democrat prosecutors like New York's AG Leticia James. Not surprisingly, she's suing to restore USAID funding. Now, I just want to ask you guys, why do you think, I'll let you guys guess before I tell you, why do you think there's higher murders in the districts where the Soros-funded DAs exist? Just remember what Alvin Bragg did is a perfect example. It's because they do catch and release of hardened criminals. They do not prosecute. They reduce felons, including grand theft. They've reduced the criteria for it so that they will not prosecute. Alvin Bragg, this was back in 2021, I think Alvin Bragg announced that he was not going to prosecute shoplifting in all of New York. So it blows up smash and grab. And where there's stealing, there is murder. It's not like a murderer just suddenly shows up, especially black on black crime. Just by the funding and the footprint of the murders, you can always tell who George Soros is funding the most. Remember, George Soros is anti-law enforcement. He's the one that wanted to defund the police. He's also anti-borders. That's his philosophy. Moving on, Riley Gaines is smashing Leticia James.
Regardless of the availability of federal funding, we write to further remind you of your obligation to comply with New York state law. So it sounds like she's picking and choosing which federal laws to comply with here. What do you think about this, Riley?
Yeah, I think your analysis is correct. When you have an attorney general tell her entire state to not comply with federal law, she is no longer acting as an attorney general. Let's call it what it is. She is an activist at that point, which I don't think this comes as a surprise, considering how she treated President Trump and other issues, of course, over her tenure.
She's demanding that though Trump is banning this gender-affirming care for minors, Leticia James is saying she will nail hospitals if they comply with Trump's orders. And we're going to have Mike Davis show up at the end here and you already know what his finale is going to be.
But this just shows me that November 5th taught the Democratic Party nothing. The majority of Americans wholeheartedly do not support the gender transitioning of minors. That was made very, very clear at the ballot box. So to continue on with this messaging, to continue to quite honestly, in this case, violate federal law, I believe it shows either their ignorance, maybe their apathy, maybe fighting for a system that rewards those who move to tear it down. I'm not sure exactly what it is.
Riley Gaines, she's the swimmer. She's right about this being a very popular issue for Trump. They even among Democrats, because I saw this poll at CNN where they said that it was polling that they didn't want the gender bending, males and female sports. It was 78% are against biological males and biological female sports, and only 18% support it. And they just said, what else can you find in America where 78% of Americans agree on any issue? That is Democrat or Republican, 78%. This is an insanely unpopular thing that Leticia James is doing. And that's why I hope her entire career crumbles even over this one issue in New York at the next election. We'll find out if New York's have a clue. Oh, here's Mike Davis. You already know how this. How do you guys think this is going to end? Are you ready? This is his warning against Leticia James threatening Elon Musk.
Let me just say this to Big Tish James, the New York Attorney General. I dare you to try to continue your lawfare against President Trump in his second term, because listen here, sweetheart, we're not messing around this time. And we will put your fat ass in prison for conspiracy against rights. And I promise you that. So think long and hard before you want to violate President Trump's constitutional rights or any other American's constitutional rights. It's not going to happen again.
We've been warning people on the show, Mike. This isn't the same Trump administration. Stop messing around. Don't rig elections. Don't illegally vote.
This is a different Trump administration. Leticia James sued. What do you guys think? Could he countersue? What kind of an action can the president do? I haven't looked into this yet. What can he do to Leticia James? I'm Doug in exile.